Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts, and in today's video we're going to be making this star-shaped gift box. Each of the tubes are individual boxes. You can resize this, and I will give you guidance how to calculate the size of the lids, etc. if you want to resize this. This box has tubes which are 5 inches high. This is the only project I've made of this, so I'm going to tell you what I've learned along the way. The key to this is really A, the quality of the paper that you use, and B, the folding and burnishing of all of the score lines. The better fold and burnish that you get, the better your pieces will fit. Some of mine are not quite as I was want, and that is because A, I haven't used particularly great quality cardstock, and B, I didn't take the time that I should have done to burnish the pieces properly. Even if you decide to use the same measurements as me, I would double check the measurements of your tube before you cut your pieces, because your diamond may not sit exactly the same as mine. You may have used different weight cardstock, and your folding and burnishing might be slightly different. So just double check your measurements. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to be making each of my tubes this size, which is 1¼ for each side. Clearly you don't need to make yours the same size as me, or even the same height as me. I'm showing you a concept rather than giving you a specific box design. I've made a few different tubes up just to show you the difference in size. This one is 1½ inches in size, so you can see the difference in the tubes. And this tube is the maximum tube size you would get from the width of A4. Each side is 2 inches. So this gives this a very thin glue tab, but you can see how this compares to the other two sizes. So we've got 1¼ inches, 1½ inches and 2 inches. And when we come to make the lid element, I'll make the lid for the size I need for my box, but I'll also show you how to calculate the piece of paper cardstock you'll need to make your lid if you make a different size. You'll need 6 pieces of cardstock, and mine are 5½ by 5½. Along one side, score at 5 inches, rotate, and along the next side, score at 1¼ 2½, 3¾ and 5. Fold and burnish all of the score lines. And before we do any cutting, etc., I want to make some finger notches into the top portion of the box. I'm going to have the join of my tube at the back here, and the hinge from my lid is going to sit over that panel and will come in this direction, as this one here. So my notches need to go here and here. I'm just going to mark those with a pencil. So if I lay my piece out with the tab on the right hand side, my notches are going to go in columns 2 and 3. And what I would recommend is you cut the notches quite shallow, as per my finished product, rather than what you see here in this one. The first thing we're going to do now is we're going to cut up each of the score lines within the 1/2 inch tab. Remove the bottom square and cut a wedge into the side glue tabs. And then within each of the glue tabs, cut a wedge. We will need to cut these more as we shape our diamond. This is merely giving us a starter, as it were. So that's our piece. I'm going to add glue to the side glue tab and join up my tube. You may want to do this process for each of your tubes, or you may want to go through the whole process one tube at a time. What order you decide to do the construction is entirely your preference. Once I've made all of my tubes up, I've put my tube into the shape that I wanted for the diamond, and I've measured the distance between the top and the bottom points, which is 2¼ inches, and the distance between the left and the right hand point, which is 1¼ inches. So I'm going to create the base. So I've got 6 pieces which are 2¼ by 1¼ and along each of the 4 sides we're going to mark at the halfway point. Along each long side I'm going to make a pencil mark at 1 1/8, and on each short side I'm going to make a pencil mark at 5/8 of an inch. So we've got the 4 points of our diamond, and I'm now going to cut between the pencil marks to create the diamond shape for the base. As you shape your tube, obviously make sure that your 2 notches remain at the front. Fold in the bottom tabs. Double check that your glue tabs are not sticking over the end of your shaped diamonds, and add your base into place. And you can see that fits on there quite nicely. For the lid you'll need 6 pieces which are 2¼ by 2¼ and along one side you're going to make a pencil mark at 1 1/8, rotate 180 degrees and do the same at the other end. On the third side you're going to take your ruler and line it up with the 1/2 inch mark on the left hand side, and we're going to make a mark at 1 1/8 along. Move your ruler down level with the 1 3/4 inch mark on the left hand side, and again make a mark at 1 1/8. So we've got 4 pencil marks. Take your ruler and stylus and we're going to join up the dots. I've got my stylus lined up with the top dot, running through the side dot, and I'm going to score between the two and extend the score line to the outer edge of the card. And you want to repeat that on all 4 sides to get your diamond shape. Just remove your pencil marks. Have your diamond in this orientation, and we're going to cut along the right hand lower score line up to the right hand point of the diamond, rotate and cut along the score line to remove that section, and repeat on the opposite side. I'm going to use my trimmer. I'm lining my score line up with the 1/2 inch mark on my trimmer, and I'm just trimming away the excess on all 4 corners. You can do this with scissors. They don't have to be accurate. This is just giving a starter where everything is the same length. Burnish the score lines. And now I'm going to take my tube. Now I've got my basic lid shape. Add glue to one tab, which is going to be the back hinge. And as I said at the beginning, the key to the lid is the scoring and the burnishing. The more accurate you are with those, the more accurate the lid will fit. But don't be afraid to reshape the tabs if you need to. I can see this tab fits nicely in the back, but there's a slight overhang as it moves into the next corner at the point. So because I know that doesn't fit, I'm going to start by trimming that away. And I'm going to work around each tab independently, making sure that it fits into place. And I will adjust each tab as necessary. So I can see that's not going to slot in, so I'm going to reshape that tab. So yes, this is a little bit fiddly, but it is worth taking the time at this stage because you will get a much neater finish. So my back piece fits in nicely, and I'm now just going to work on the front piece. Once these top pieces have got some DSP on, that will also stop the lids from springing up. I'm going to show you if you decide to make a completely different size. I'm going to use my 2-inch diamond as an example to show you how I calculated the lid for the top. So put your diamond into the shape that you want. So you can obviously choose how you want your diamond to sit. And I'm going to measure the distance of the inside of the top tip down to the inside of the bottom tip. And this is going to be 3¾ of an inch. And then the width between the narrow points is 1½ inches. I will therefore start with a piece of cardstock which is 3¾ so the same length, and the width plus 1 inch. So this piece of cardstock is 3¾ by 2¼ Along the short side, the 2½ inch side, I'm going to make a pencil mark along the top edge at 1¼ and I'm going to do the same at the bottom. So they are the top and bottom points of our diamond. Along the long side, I'm just going to use the lines of my mat to help me for this demo. I'm going to measure along 1/2 inch down from the top, and I'm going to make a pencil mark halfway across the cardstock at 1⅞ of an inch. And I'm going to do the same at the bottom. So 1/2 inch up from the bottom edge of the card, I'm going to make another mark at 1⅞ of an inch. So I've got my 4 points of my diamond. I'm then going to follow exactly the same process. So the scoring, the trimming, and the cutting is all exactly the same. So that's the basis of our lid. Our hinge is going to sit on the inside like so. You can see that fits nicely. And then I will go around and I will trim each of the tabs as I need to. So you can see this one isn't going to fit. I'll mark that and trim. Do the same with this one. And then you can see the lid fits into the tube very nicely. So the cardstock you'll need will be the length of the longest part of the diamond by the width of the narrowest point plus 1 inch. And what the extra 1 inch does is it allows you to add a 1/2 inch glue tab at either side. I'm now going to add my pieces together using my construction glue. And you should find that they do fit together nicely. So that's our completed star. And I'm now going to get on with the decoration. So here's my final decorated piece. I've added some embossed cardstock onto the front, added some Nuvo drops just to enhance the look of the berries, and I've created a floral bouquet effect on the front using some elements from last year's Christmas stash. And overall, I'm actually quite happy with how this one has come out. And I certainly think I will revisit this and create it using different size and different height tubes. I hope you've enjoyed this Christmas in July gift box idea. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And until next time, thanks for watching.